I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Deciphering My Experience. My name is Eric, and I think we're going to have some fun today. I've been digging around and investigating as usual on the CIA website, and I was doing a search recently, and I simply threw in the term Montauk, and some stuff came up, and I was actually kind of surprised that there was only, I think, 17 items that had popped up under the Freedom of Information Act search on their website. And I was like, okay, well, at least it'll be a quick search and I'll get through it fast. But I found some interesting stuff, and I'm going to share it with you folks because I know a lot of what I'm presenting, I mean, I know it doesn't give all of the answers, but effectively it's the deciphering of my experience in real time. So I came across some stuff today that in my experience, I would say is rather interesting. So let's just jump right into what I got going on, and I will pull up some stuff here to show you. Hopefully I don't click the wrong buttons and make things go away. But right here, we are looking at a map of Long Island in the Glen Cove area, which I like to refer to as Northern Roslyn. But right here, you'll see this is Old Tappan Road, and this is Thesaurus Lane. And right in this section here, there's a parking lot. Back when I was a plumber working this area, one of my coworkers directed me to this parking lot and informed me that for the locale that I was covering, as you can see, if I just back it out a bit, this is the Gold Coast of Long Island, the North Shore. This area here is known as Glen Cove. And for all practical purposes, that was actually smart on his part because I would work this whole coastline up here, all of these homes. It's a pretty affluent community. But he was wise in telling me to hang out in that area. So let's get back to that parking lot there. So I would hang out in this parking lot as directed and wait for my next call and be on standby and at the ready. And this would happen 24 hours a day. We were a 24-hour shop, so sometimes I'd be posted there during the day. Sometimes I'd be posted there at night, ready for an emergency, ready for everything to go down. Now, with that being said, let me see if I can find my next page. Here we go. So this is an article from December 30th, 2016, and it says, the U.S. is shutting down Gold Coast Long Island mansion occupied by Russians. The New York-based Russian intelligence compound that President Obama ordered to be shut down in the wake of the Democratic National Committee hacking incident turns out to be a sprawling mansion in Glen Cove, Long Island. You don't say. Which was built for George DuPont Pratt of the Standard Oil and Pratt Institute Pratt. That's some bucks, folks. There's some old school money going on here. These are the folks I used to work for back in the day. And yes, just so you know, this home, I've been in this home. I've plumbed in here. Many residents of the ritzy North Shore town had no idea that the estate called Killingworth has actually been a, quote, long-time getaway for Russian diplomats that was also used for Russian intelligence purposes, according to U.S. government officials, reports NBC New York, which spoke to some of the neighbors. I didn't even really know. It's kind of really scary in your own backyard, one local said. Another was privy to it, saying, ever since the late 70s, that's when I knew about it. Never seen any activity there. Gates open, gates close, and that's it. The mansion, which was built in 1912, winning Best Country Home design honors from the American Institute of Architects, was bought by the Soviet Union as a weekend home for the delegation to the United States. There's even an old Life magazine photograph of Nikita Khrushchev on the grounds. However, because the home has been used for diplomatic purposes, Glen Cove has never been able to collect taxes on the 14-acre estate. Here's a photograph right here of the Killingworth, New York estate seized today, names it a country home of the Russian delegation to the UN. So, Churkin's Dacha, that right there, that's the property right there. Nice big mansion, very old school and ornate. And here we see the map, the location that they're showing here in Glen Cove. And whoa, look, there's Thesaurus. There's the high school. And here's Old Tappan. Then, in the 1980s, United Press International noted that it was believed that Killingworth was a base for Soviet spying on Long Island's defense industry, from ABC News. And that is correct, folks, because I'm going to go right here. I'm going to do a quick little switchy. I'm going to leave this article in the links below. This is declassified from the CIA website. KGB spares no expense on eavesdropping in the U.S. Please read this article. It discusses everything that was going on, including the observation of the submarine base in New London, Connecticut. There's a lot going on in this article, folks, and it will be in the links. So please pay attention. I've been to Connecticut. I've been to the facilities. I've been to the places listed in these articles, folks. There's some stuff going down that you need to pay attention to. But let's get back over here. According to UPI, this touched off a battle between the city of Glen Cove, the Russians, and the U.S. federal government. The Soviets, in turn, refused to allow American diplomatic personnel there to use a beach outside Moscow, the report said. For 2 years, the Soviets were banned from using the city of Glen Cove's beaches. That would be Prible's Beach right around the corner that I also used to service as well. This estate is a listening post for the Soviet Union, but our government is aware of the fact and chooses to ignore it. The mayor, Alan Parente, said at the time, according to UPI, if it is used for spying, this residence is not entitled to tax exemption. Today, the New York Times says the estate is often nearly empty, according to law enforcement officials, inhabited year-round by just a few Russian caretakers. Protected by a chain-link fence, the mansion has stone peaks that poke into the sky. Thick brush obstructs the view of the bottom half of the house. Angelina Izzo, who works as a receptionist at the health care center next to the estate, said the mansion's very quiet. I serviced that facility as well. Killingworth is located on Thesaurus Lane. If the street sounds familiar to movie buffs, it should. It's where the Larrabees and Sabrina Fairchild lived. And a 1959 spy thriller featured a mysterious Glen Cove mansion, North by Northwest, which filmed at George DuPont Pratt's brother's estate, The Manor. So let's get back to that map. Okay. So, Thesaurus Lane, Old Tappan Road, parking lot that I was directed to stand by in. Let's back out of here. Thesaurus Lane, driveway, looping over, Killingworth, Russian spy house. Interesting. The property that they were saying, the rehab center, the Glengarriff, also one of our properties. I think they built it just for the express purposes of keeping an eye on that house. Ta-da! If they didn't have the Glengarriff there, look at what would be going on here, folks. You'd have this. I mean, seriously. I don't know if you understand the value of the real estate over here. But speaking of the real estate over here, here's another tidbit of information that a lot of folks don't know. So, this parking lot in proximity to the Russian spying facility, which the Russian spying facility is now basically northern Roslyn, for all I care. because here's Roslyn proper. This is the area that I say to keep your eyes peeled for, that this is the true seat of intelligence. So here's Roslyn from when George Washington was there. This was the spy central. So now you can just see that Glen Cove is effectively northern Roslyn. The Russians knew it. A lot of our Central Intelligence personnel lived in this area of Roslyn and Old Brookville, and a lot of the personnel were there communicating, and this listening station was said to be listening to all the telephone calls in proximity. So it's just basically like a giant net. They knew where everybody lived, and they were trying to get in on capturing everything they possibly could in proximity. Now, here's our parking lot. Here's our Russian spy facility. And when we talk about catching everything in the vicinity, so when you're talking about Brookville here and where all of the CIA directors lived, we're also not far from other facilities that have been important historically. So here's the parking lot again, Russian facility. And then there's this interesting little property here on the corner. Because that property I would work in often as well. But unbeknownst to a lot of people, this book covers it. I recommend it. The True Story of the Bilderberg Group by Daniel Eustelin. He clarifies something really important about this area as well. That this property right here, folks, was home of the Bilderberg meeting in 1990. It's a massive, massive property. There's a bunch of stuff under it. A lot of these country clubs on Long Island are fortifications. People don't know that. If you look at these properties, these are all very affluent communities. And you see these country clubs, like, look at all of this area. And then you have, like, the Piping Rock. The Piping Rock. This is like the king of king all country clubs. Your country club's junk if you can't get into the Piping Rock. Piping Rock's like primary. If you got a secondary membership somewhere else, that's cool. But if you can't get into the Piping Rock, you're nobody. But look at the size of this thing. So I used to service all these country clubs too. So here we got the Brookville, we got the Cedar Brook, Glen Head, North Shore, all of these country clubs. They're cover stories, folks. This is where rich people, preppers, they don't have to prep. They just go to the country club. It's fortified. And that's what basically this place was set up for that Bilderberg meeting. So this was here. According to this article, the KGB was operating here since the 50s. So the CIA was very aware of this, and to wait until 2016 was actually quite ridiculous for them to have to come in by this facet. The government was aware of this facility for quite some time. Probably double agents, triple agents, and all that kind of shenanigans going on. But at the very least, this facility was here before the Bilderbergs came here. And all of this was going on. I didn't start hanging out in here until I would say I got out of the Navy in 1994, which would have been the submarine service, folks, which they said this was a listening post for. New London, Connecticut is just north and east of here. And just right across the border, basically. So I started showing up into this area, I would say late 90s, early 2000s when I started working this area very religiously. But to me, this is just, it's really peculiar to see that the lay of the land, so to say, to be in such proximity, to know that these were clients of mine. These were facilities that I've been to. These are the areas that I roamed in. And I'm telling you, this stuff it's spy central. It's shady as shady can be. A lot of my clients were peculiar folks and in peculiar industries, and I just thought these articles were very interesting. I thought the connections were off the wall. It's just so weird to me, the places that I've been, the paths that I've crossed, the people that I've met, and I enjoy deciphering my experiences and looking back and getting it all figured out. So thank you for checking this out. Take a look at the links in the articles. take a look at the links in the description below. And as always, please help support what I'm doing by subscribing, liking, sharing the page. If you're into CBD products, check the links below. There's some high quality stuff if that's what you're into and what you need. But until next time, I look forward to speaking to everyone. I've been getting a lot of responses in the emails, a lot of people interacting. Thank you so much for reaching out and trusting me with your information and your stories. And additionally, thank you to all of my supporters on PayPal and Patreon. There is a website coming up, so the investment is worth it. There's going to be a lot of truth coming out soon, and platforms are changing. So pay attention. I have a whole bunch of stuff coming out, but I am setting the stage for the right platform to present it on. So please pay attention. Please follow along, like, subscribe, share, all of that fun stuff. And I look forward to talking to you next time.